something is about to break on the Dutton Ranch, and once it breaks, there is no putting it back together. The new trailer for episode 8 has dropped, and it is already being called one of the most intense previews in the entire run of the show. Within the first few seconds, you can feel that this is not going to be a quiet episode. This is the episode where two of the strongest characters on the ranch push past their limits, and the result could change everything for the Dutton family going forward. Beth Dutton has always been the person who fights back the hardest when someone threatens her family. But this time, something feels different. This is not just anger. This is not just a sharp comment thrown across a room. This looks like a real declaration of war. The kind of war where she is not holding anything back anymore. Fans have seen Beth go after enemies before, but the tone in this trailer suggests she is done playing defense. She is stepping forward as the one starting the fight, not just finishing it. At the very same time, Rip is shown making a decision that could be the biggest mistake of his entire time on the ranch. Rip has always been loyal, almost to a fault. He does whatever it takes to protect John Dutton and the family, even when it puts himself at risk. But loyalty without thinking things through can lead to disaster. And this trailer hints that Rip's next move might hurt the very people he is trying to protect. That is the kind of mistake that does not just affect one person. It can shake the entire ranch. So here is the real question everyone is asking after watching this trailer. Is Beth's war going to tear apart an enemy outside the family? Or is she about to turn on someone close to her? And is Rip's mistake something that can be fixed quietly? Or is this the moment that finally breaks trust between him and the people he loves most? These two storylines are clearly connected, even if the trailer does not spell out exactly how yet. What makes this trailer so powerful is the timing. This is happening right when the ranch is already under pressure from outside forces. Land deals, business rivals, and old family secrets have been building up for weeks. Adding Beth's aggressive new move and Rip's risky decision on top of all that pressure feels like lighting a match next to dry grass. One spark and everything could go up in flames. In this video, we are going to break down every major moment from the episode 8 trailer piece by piece. We will look closely at what Beth might be planning, who she could be targeting, and why this moment feels like a turning point for her character. We will also dig into Rip's choice and try to figure out exactly what mistake the trailer is hinting at and why it might be impossible to undo. By the end of this video, you will have a much clearer picture of what to expect when this episode actually airs, along with some theories that connect the dots between these two explosive storylines. If you are someone who has been following the Dutton family drama closely, you already know that small moments in these trailers often turn into massive plot twists later on. So pay close attention because we are not skipping a single detail. Stick around because this breakdown is about to get deep into the heart of what might be the most dramatic episode of the season so far. Before we dive into the new trailer, let's quickly walk through where things stood at the end of episode 7, because everything happening in episode 8 builds directly on top of it. If you remember, the previous episode ended with the family standing on shaky ground. Tensions inside the house were already high, but it was an outside threat that really set the stage for what is coming next. The land dispute that has been building for several episodes finally reached a breaking point. Outside business interests have been circling the ranch for a while now, looking for any weakness they can use to push the Duttons out, or force them into a deal that benefits everyone except the family. By the end of episode 7, it became clear that this threat was not going away quietly. Someone made a move that directly challenged the family's control over their own land, and that move was personal enough to make Beth furious. On top of that outside pressure, there was also a betrayal hinted at within the family's inner circle. Without getting into specific details that have not been fully confirmed, the previous episode planted strong seeds of doubt about who can actually be trusted right now. Someone close to the family may have shared information they should not have, or made a decision behind everyone's back that put the ranch at risk. This kind of betrayal hits differently than an outside attack, because it means the danger is not just coming from people the Duttons can clearly identify as enemies. John Dutton, as usual, was trying to hold everything together with a calm and steady approach, but even he seemed to sense that this situation was different from past conflicts. His usual method of waiting things out and handling problems quietly did not seem to be working this time. The pressure was building faster than he could control it, and that left room for Beth to step in with her own approach, which has never been calm or quiet. Rip, meanwhile, was shown growing more protective and more on edge as the episode went on. He has always reacted strongly when he feels the family is being threatened, and the ending of episode 7 left him in a position where he had to make a choice about how far he was willing to go to protect the people he loves. That choice is clearly what leads into the mistake we see hints of in the new trailer. By the final moments of episode 7, the message was clear. The ranch was no longer just dealing with slow-moving business problems, it was dealing with a direct threat that demanded an immediate response. And in this family, when something demands an immediate response, Beth is usually the first one to step up. This recap matters because episode 8 does not waste time slowly building up the conflict again. Instead, it picks up right where that tension left off and pushes it even further. Understanding this background helps explain why Beth's reaction in the new trailer feels so aggressive, and why Rip's decision feels so risky. Neither of these moments is happening out of nowhere. They are both direct results of everything that built up right before this point. Now that we have a clear picture of where things stood, let's move into the heart of the episode 8 trailer and break down exactly what Beth's declaration of war really means. Now, let's get into the moment that has every fan talking, because this is the part of the trailer that truly earns the word war in the title. Beth Dutton has spent years being the sharpest weapon the family has, but in this trailer, she does not look like someone defending her family anymore. She looks like someone who has decided to attack first. There is a clear shift in her energy, and it is the kind of shift that usually means real consequences are coming for whoever stands in her way. What makes this moment stand out is the tone. In past seasons, Beth's anger usually came after something happened to her family. She reacted. She pushed back. She made enemies pay for what they had already done. But this trailer feels different because she seems to be the one setting the terms this time. Instead of waiting for the next move from her enemies, she appears to be stepping forward and forcing the fight to happen on her schedule, not theirs. That alone tells us this is not just another disagreement. This is Beth deciding that the only way to protect her family is to go on full offense. So who exactly is she targeting? Based on everything building up from previous episodes, there are a few strong possibilities. The most obvious target is the outside business pressure that has been circling the ranch for weeks. If this rival group made the wrong move against the family, Beth is exactly the type of person who would not just respond with a lawsuit or a calm negotiation, she would respond by trying to destroy them completely, using every resource and every connection she has. That kind of full-scale retaliation fits perfectly with the idea of declaring war. But there is another possibility that feels even more dramatic, and that is the chance that Beth's war is not aimed entirely outward. Given the hints of betrayal from inside the family circle, it is very possible that some of her anger is directed at someone closer to home. If she believes someone inside the family's trusted circle helped create this mess, Beth has never been someone who lets that kind of disloyalty slide just because of family ties. She has drawn hard lines before, and she might be ready to draw one again, even if it means turning against someone she once trusted. What really stands out in this trailer is how calm and controlled Beth appears while saying whatever she says in this moment. Her anger has never looked like screaming or losing control. It looks calculated. It looks like someone who has already thought through every move and is simply choosing the moment to act. That calmness is honestly more frightening than if she were yelling, because it suggests she has a real plan, not just raw emotion driving her. This also raises an important question about how the rest of the family will react. John Dutton has always preferred a slower, more careful approach to conflict, while Beth prefers fast and forceful action. If Beth moves forward with this kind of aggressive plan without getting full support from her father, it could create tension inside the family, even before the outside fight begins. That means this declaration of war might not just affect the people she is targeting, it could also test her relationship with the rest of the Duttons, especially if her methods go further than what John would ever approve of. There is also the emotional layer to consider. Every time Beth goes into full attack mode, it usually comes from a place of deep pain or fear of losing the people she loves. This moment in the trailer might look like pure aggression on the surface, but underneath it, there is likely real fear driving her actions. She has lost people before, and she may be terrified of losing more if she does not act now, no matter how extreme her methods become. Whatever the exact target turns out to be, one thing is certain. This is shaping up to be one of the most aggressive moves Beth has made in the entire series, and it sets a serious tone for the rest of the episode. Once she fully commits to this kind of fight, there will likely be no turning back. which makes the next part of the trailer, involving Rip's mistake, even more important to understand. While Beth is busy declaring war, the trailer also shifts focus to Rip. And what we see from him might be just as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than anything Beth is planning. Rip has always been the quiet force on the ranch. He does not need long speeches or dramatic declarations. He simply acts. But that habit of acting first and explaining later is exactly what could lead him into the biggest mistake of his life in this episode. To understand why this moment matters so much, you have to remember who Rip really is at his core. He is fiercely loyal, almost to an extreme. His entire identity is built around protecting John Dutton and the family that took him in when he had nowhere else to go. That kind of loyalty is usually seen as a strength. But loyalty without restraint can easily turn into a weakness. When someone is willing to do absolutely anything to protect the people they love, they sometimes stop asking whether what they are doing is actually the right move. In the trailer, there are strong hints that Rip is about to take matters into his own hands again, possibly without full approval from John, or even without Beth knowing the complete plan. This is important because Rip working alone has caused serious problems in the past. He tends to see threats in very simple terms. If someone is dangerous to the family, that person needs to be dealt with, often through force rather than strategy. That mindset has worked for him before, but the stakes in this part of the season seem much higher and far more complicated than a simple physical threat. What makes this decision potentially disastrous is the timing. With Beth already moving aggressively against whoever she sees as the enemy, Rip taking his own forceful action at the same time could create a situation that spins completely out of control. If these two are not coordinating with each other, their separate moves could clash, expose secrets that were supposed to stay hidden, or worse, draw unwanted attention from law enforcement or business partners who are already watching the ranch closely. There is also a real possibility that Rip's mistake is not about violence at all, but about trust. He may be hiding something from the family, perhaps a decision he made to protect them that he knows they would not approve of if they found out. Secrets like this tend to explode eventually, and if Rip is keeping something from John or Beth right when tensions are already this high, the moment of discovery could cause serious damage to those relationships, even if his intentions were good the entire time. It is also worth considering how this moment affects Rip personally. He has earned trust slowly over many years, proving himself again and again to a family that did not always make it easy for him to belong. If this mistake becomes public or causes real harm, it could threaten everything he has built. Imagine spending years proving your loyalty, only to have one risky decision threaten to undo all of it. That emotional weight makes this storyline feel incredibly heavy, even before we know the full details of what he actually does. There is a strong chance that Rip's mistake and Beth's declaration of war are more connected than they appear at first glance. Perhaps Rip is trying to handle a threat quietly before Beth can turn it into a full-blown conflict, not realizing that his actions might actually make things worse instead of better. Or maybe his choice gives Beth exactly the information or excuse she needs to escalate things even further than she originally planned. Either way, this combination of Beth's aggressive new approach and Rip's risky independent action creates a powder keg situation for the ranch. Two of the most loyal and powerful people in the family are both making bold moves at the same time. And if those moves are not aligned, the fallout could be more destructive than any outside threat the family has faced so far this season.